We are going to answer this question before us. It says, sketch the graph of f of x is equal to 2 sine of negative 3x for x is an element of negative pi to pi. The first thing I'm going to realize here is I have a negative in front of my x, which is telling me that a reflection in the y-axis is occurring. But we also know that when I have a sine of a negative angle, I can just take that negative to the front, and graphically reflecting in the x and y-axis looks the same for the sine graph. So my actual graph will look, well, I'll write as this. This. So I just took that negative to the front. Having now done that, I'll find my amplitude. My amplitude is just going to be 2. Remember, you don't take the negative. The period will be 2 pi divided by the coefficient of x in this case, which is 3. And I'm also going to figure out what my scale is, which will be very helpful when I come to sketch this. Remember, you find the scale by taking the period and dividing it by 4. And the same thing as dividing by 4 is timesing by a quarter. So that's going to leave me with 2 pi on 12, which is the same as pi on 6. Okay, having now figured out all those important points, we're going to come to sketch this. But what we need to remember is that I've got this negative. So there is a reflection taking place. And remember, for a sine graph, a reflection in the y-axis looks the same, y-axis, looks the same as a reflection in the x-axis. So we're just reflecting in the x-axis. All right, so let's come down here and let's see if we can give this thing a sketch. So we're starting here, and it's reflected in the x-axis, so it's going to go down, up, down. Remember, your amplitude was 2, so I'm going 2 down, 2 up. And this right here is 2 on 3. Now remember, our domain was negative pi to pi. So let's just focus on this positive section for the time being. I need to get to pi. Well, what's helpful to do here is just to count up with your scale. So remember, your scale was pi on 6, which means this will be 2 pi on 6, meaning this will be 3 pi on 6. This will be 4 pi on 6, which is 2 pi on 3, same thing, 4 pi on 6. Then I'll go 5 pi on 6, and then I'll get to 6 pi on 6. And 6 pi on 6 is the same as pi. So I can now rub that out. That's going to be pi. And as you can see, whoops, let's just put that somewhere else. I'm just going to get this bottom section. So I'm not doing a full period here. I'm just going to there. And then you just have to fix up the other things as well. I can get rid of this if I'm careful with how I rub that out, and I failed. I've already got 2 pi on 3 there. This 3 pi on 6, I can write that as pi on 2. This 2 pi on 6, I can write as pi on 3. And then that pi on 6 I will leave there. So just make sure that you're simplifying things as you're going along, which is very important. Okay, now we're not done yet, because now I need to do this backwards as well, because my domain is from negative pi to pi. So that means I'm going to go up, down, up, down like that. And let's just double check that we've done that correctly. And again, make sure yours looks good. I find it quite difficult to sketch on this tablet. It should look as symmetrical as possible. Okay, so I know that I'm going back negative pi on 6. This will be negative 2 pi on 6. This will be negative 3 pi on 6. This will be negative 4 pi on 6. This will be negative 5 pi on 6. This will be negative 6 pi on 6, which is the same as negative pi. So I've done it. This will be negative pi. This will be, now 4 pi on 6 is the same as negative 2 pi on 3. Can I rub it out? There we go. Negative 2 pi on 3. Negative 3 pi on 6 is the same as negative a half. Negative 2 pi on 6 is the same as negative pi on 3. And then I've got negative pi on 6 there. I'm going up and down by my amplitude of 2. This was y. Was it f of x? So I've got everything labeled. I'm going up and down by 2. I've got negative pi, negative 2 pi on 3, negative pi on 3, 0, good, pi on 3, 2 pi on 3, and then to pi. This all looks good. I've reflected correctly. And that's it. That's how you would draw something that looks like this. Hopefully, you have found this useful.